we explore trapping a spear in formation. This is the Kitsune clan, a group of sword enthusiasts who like cosplay, reenactment, and historical martial arts. If you have similar interests, feel welcomed. Polearms and especially spears are made to be used not only in a one-to-one type of dueling, they're especially thought to be used in formations. Of course, before used in formations, the warriors that should use a spear somehow have to get used to the weapon, have to understand how the weapon moves, how it balances, and how it can be effectively used against a target. That's definitely good to get an idea about the weapon, but it will differ from how you use the spear in formation, because if there's another guy standing left besides you and right besides you also having a spear, that will limit your range of motion. The tricky point with a pole arm formation is that all the pole arms of all these different people have to be coordinated. There are some general patterns known and they can be easily applied, yet we want to explore here something in comparison to unarmed martial arts. And if we look into Jiu-Jitsu or Tai-Jitsu or even Tai-Ho-Jitsu, then we will find specific techniques that are made to trap both arms of the opponent while holding them with only one of your arms so that you have the other hand free at least for some time. For modern policemen or security personnel, that's a way to secure both arms away for a bit to get the handcuffs out or to call for more help by using your cell phone or a radio device. Some of these techniques also require that you use both of your arms to grasp both of the arms of the opponent. That's a way to secure persons and to transport them also away from a dangerous situation. There are limitations of the application of these techniques. They work with pain on the joints. So if somebody is drunk or under the effect of other drugs, these techniques might not work that well. They also require a bit of force. In any case, the principle is interesting. Two arms are used for trapping two arms of the opponent, and then ideally I can free one of my arms, for example, to call for help or for simply striking the opponent if I think that's necessary. If we could do something like that in a polearm formation, that would mean, let's assume we have two polearms on one side and two opposing one, we could trap the two polearms of the opposing faction, free one of our polearms, and then hit the target with the free polearm. Unfortunately, this is not so easily transferred to the polearm situation. For example, here we perform a variation of the double Nelson that is nothing that we can easily one-to-one transfer to a polearm situation. We therefore need to consider comparable situations where we can trap both arms of the opponent without having such complex techniques like here they are from Jiu-Jitsu or Tai-Jitsu. Luckily, there are techniques like that in a lot of martial arts. They are usually called trapping. So trapping techniques are well established, for example, in different styles of Wing Chun or Jet Kundo, and they are thought to trap the hands of the opponent for a short moment to be able to strike with the free hand. So this cannot fix the hands for long, only for a very brief time, but it gives us then the option to strike in. This should be something transferable to polearms. If we look at different variations of the trapping in the unarmed martial arts, they often work with a crossing effect, so that one arm of the opponent crosses the other arm and by that limits its movements. This principle should be somehow transferable to the polearm. One aspect we can see here that a lot of the traps work with a so-called lapsao, which means we are pulling on the upper arm of the cross. Pulling will be difficult with polearms, but there are two other types of traps that are often used. One is a so-called chatsao, which presses downwards onto the cross, or toksao, which lifts the cross upwards. Lifting and pressing should be actions that could be performed with a polearm. More easily, of course, with not so simple spare polearms, but with polearms that have some projections or prongs. So let's take our Jumonji-Yari simulator and set it up against 3 normal spears. Of course, a single person against 3 polearms will most likely not survive. This is just to show the principle. If we would have larger formations, one person on one side could be armed with this Jumonji-Yari-like thing. The person could then, like here, try to trap 3 spears on the other side by pressing one onto other ones, and then the colleagues of the person with the Jumonji-Yari left and right could then attack the people on the other side that have trapped spears. As laid out with the unarmed examples, we can not only press down, we can also push upwards. That's in fact astonishingly effective. We also thought at first that might be a problem concerning one person pushing against 3, but it seems well possible. So could it be that we had people in formations in the past that did exactly this kind of job? We think yes. If you look at Japanese spears and Chinese pole arms, there are a lot of them that could be used for pushing, definitely. Similarly, in Europe, a lot of the complex pole arms seem to be made exactly for this purpose. Also, the famous Zweihänder, so the great sword, with its front prongs, could be used exactly in this way. Is this now the perfect strategy that solves everything concerning polearms? No, of course not. Firstly, both sides can use specialized polearms. Secondly, in our examples, it only worked well if one of the persons from the sides attacked. If, like here, the middle person attacks, it's tricky to trap all 3 spears at once. One is usually free and can attack. Hence, these are only the first few steps into formation work. Hope we could inspire you. See you around next time.